are continuing our series today on open communication, and many ways that we look at what open communication can do. And it helps us to look within, to look in ourselves and to find the reflection of what we see within us, which is spirit. So my title today is Honoring Our Differences. How do you honor somebody that is different from you? Are you honoring to their uniqueness? Or do you look at that as something that's not quite right? Or that they're bad just because they're different from you? Do you think your hairstyle, your skin color, your accent, your body size, your sexuality makes you special? Does that make you better than somebody else? Do you feel prejudiced, maybe even against yourself, because you're not like everyone else? We've looked at this for a couple weeks, and we've looked at it from several angles. So I think it's time that we take a little wisdom from children and from Dr. Seuss. So today I'm going to be sharing with you the story of the Sneetches by Dr. Seuss. And you just have to kind of go with me with PowerPoint. There's probably one for most pages. Now, the star-belly Sneetches had bellies with stars. The plain-belly Sneetches had none upon theirs. Those stars aren't so big, they were really so small. You might think such a thing wouldn't matter at all. But because they had stars, all the star-belly Sneetches would brag, "We're the best kind of Sneetches on the beaches." With their snoots in the air, they would sniff and they'd snort. They'd have nothing to do with the plain-belly sort. And whenever they met some, when they were out walking, they'd hike right past them without even talking. Then when the star-belly children went out to play ball, could a plain belly get in the game? Not at all. You could only play if your bellies had stars, and plain belly children upon theirs. When the star-belly Sneetches had Frankfurter roast, or picnics or parties or marshmallow toast, they never invited the plain belly Sneetches. They left them out cold, in the dark, on the beaches. They kept them away. They never let them come near. And that's how they treated them, year after year. Then, one day, it seems, while the plain-belly Sneetches were boating and doping alone on the beaches, just sitting there wishing their bellies had stars, a stranger zipped up in the strangest of cars. "My friends," he announced, in a voice clear and clean, "my name is Sylvester McMonkey McBean, and I've heard of your troubles, I've heard you're unhappy, but I can fix that, I'm the fix-it-up chappie. I've come here to help you, I have what you need, and my prices are low, and I work at great speed, and all of my work is 100% guaranteed." And quickly, Sylvester McMonkey McBean put together a very peculiar machine. And he said, "You want stars like the star-belly Sneetch? My friends, you can have them for $3 each. Just pay me your money and hop right aboard." And so they clambered inside, and the big machine roared. It clonked and it bonked, and it jerked and it burped, and it bopped them about. But the thing really worked. When the plain-belly Sneetches popped out, they had stars. They actually did. They had stars upon bars. Then they yelled at the ones who had stars from the start, "We're exactly like you. You can't tell us apart. We're all just the same now, you snooty old smarties. And now we can go to your Frankfurter parties." "Good grief," groaned the ones that had stars from the first. "We're still the best Sneetches, and they are the worst." But now, how in the world will we know? They all frowned. If which kind is what, or the other way round. Then came McBean with a very sly wink, and he said, things are not as bad as you think. So you don't know who's who. That's perfectly true. But come with me, friends. Do you know what I'll do? I'll make you again the best sneeches on the beaches, and it will only cost you $10 eaches. Belly stars are no longer in style, said McBean. What you need is a trip through my star-off machine. This wondrous contraption will take off your stars, so you won't look like sneeches who have them on theirs. And that handy machine, it worked quite precisely, removed all the stars from their tummies quite nicely. Then, with their snoots in the air, they paraded about. They opened their beaks and they let out a shout. We know who is who, now there isn't a doubt. We're the best sneeches, the sneeches without. Then, of course, those with stars got frightfully mad. To be wearing a star was frightfully bad. Then, of course, old Sylvester McMonkey McBean invited them into his star-off machine. Of course then, and from then on, as you probably can guess, things got really into a horrible mess. All the rest of that day, on those wild screaming beaches, the fix-it-up chappie kept fixing up sneeches. Off again, on again. In again, out again. Through the machines they raced around and about, changing their stars every minute or two. They kept paying money, they kept running free, until neither the plane nor the starbellies knew whether this one was that one, or that one was this one, or which one was what one, or what one was who. Then, when every last cent of their money was spent, the fix-it-up chappie packed up and he went. He laughed as he drove his car up the beach. They never will learn. No, you can't teach a sneech. But McBean was quite wrong. I'm quite happy to say that the sneeches got really quite smart on that day. The day they decided that sneeches are sneeches, and no kind of sneech is the best on the beach. That day, all of the sneeches forgot about stars, and whether they had one or not upon theirs. So 2 points here that I would like for us to consider. First, do you try to be like somebody else? If you don't have the star on your belly, are you trying to get that star on your belly so you'll fit in? Do you think that's the best kind of person to be? Do you look at what the advertisers tell us? You have to be a certain height, a certain weight, a certain color, a certain hair color, and then you will be in. Then you'll have what everybody needs. This brings you fortune and fame and love and anything else you want in life, right? At least the advertisers will tell us that. Or do you look at yourself as unique and embrace your own uniqueness? And there lies a lot of issue with many of us. We always wanted to fit in. We always wanted to be a part of the in crowd, the cool kids, right? And did we always fit in? I'm sure some of you did. That didn't work so well for me. Many of you have heard parts of my story here and how I didn't really fit my family's expectations for what they wanted in their third son. And you know, I struggled with that all through high school, through my teenage years, and even into college, trying to fit in. And I began to see that I could only be myself. The biggest change for me came when I started into practitioner studies. And I started looking at myself and evaluating who I was and what I wanted to be in the world. What I wanted to be when I grew up. Of course, I'm still figuring that out. Last week, I shared with you a quote from Oscar Wilde, and I think it bears repeating. Be yourself, everyone else is taken. How often do we try to be somebody else? You know, when I was growing up, even in starting into practitioner studies, I would hear a practitioner pray, and I would think, oh, wow, I want to be able to pray like that. That's wonderful. Then I'd hear a minister speak, and it was like, oh, that's just how I want to speak. I want to sound just like them. And usually it was a woman. Maybe there were several issues there. But what I learned was that I get to embrace my uniqueness, who I am as an individual, and what I bring to the world is unique. It's not something that somebody else can bring. Reverend Marilyn, you've spoken before, but you can't speak like me, can you? And I can't speak like you. One of the very first services that I came to here at CSL Parker, when I was checking you all out to see if I wanted to be here, to candidate, Reverend Marilyn was talking, and I remember her telling this story about being a little girl and standing in the back of the car. And she was so excited in the car as her dad was driving, and then she stepped sideways and she stepped into the hot custard. And that story stuck with me, and I thought, oh my God, I don't have any kind of stories like that. How could I go to this place? Breathe, Rick, breathe. Just be yourself. And so that's the message for all of us, is to really be ourselves, to embrace ourselves in all of our uniqueness, because that's what's going to really make this world so much better. In the Science of Mind textbook, on page 263, the last paragraph, Ernest Holmes says, "The divine has not incarnated in anyone else just the same individual way that it has in me. I am unique and forever individualized. Therefore, I do not need to imitate anyone." How about that? Those are words for each one of us. We do not need to imitate anyone. Now, yes, we have people that inspire us. I'd like to be like them. But your expression of whatever God qualities you see in them are going to be different. Just how you express them. So we all need to learn to embrace ourselves, to understand that we are good right as we are. Love ourselves so that we can bring forth our unique talents and gifts to the world. And if we think somebody else's expression is better than ours, that puts us at a more subservient level. And we are all equal because we're all children of the divine. We're all Spirit inspired. And if we think that our way is the best way, we need to think again, because everybody has something to give. We all come from the same source. And coming from that same source, we need to honor each person. So this is really the message for us today. I found another quote. Can you back up just one? Sorry. Found another quote from Eckhart Tolle. And I thought this was saying a lot of the same thing that Ernest has said. Ernest says we always live from the inside out. And whatever is going on inside of us, if there's turmoil going on, if there's peace going on, then we'll see that manifest in our outside world. Eckhart Tolle says, get the inside right, and the outside will fall into place. I think that's kind of saying the same thing. just with different words. But you know, some people will hear and understand what Ernest is saying. We're living from the inside out. Other people are going to really relate to what Eckhart Tolle says. Get the inside right and the outside will be fine. There's not just one way to say these spiritual truths. There are many ways, and there's many ways to experience them. So don't think your way is the only way. Pretty easy, right? Except our ego wants to hold on to our way because of course it's the best. We have, and I apologize, I should have said this in our announcements, we have two special guests with us today. Reverend Dr. David Goldberg is here, who is the publisher of the Science of Mind magazine, and his husband, Rick Finbow. And as a gift to our center, he brought us a whole stack of Science of Mind magazines. They're on the education table. So feel free to take those and read them. How about that? In this particular copy, which is August of 2017, there is a story in there, and I want to share a little bit about this. It is the story of an interview with Don Miguel Ruiz and his two sons. Many of you will recognize Don Miguel as the author of the 4 Agreements, and then he wrote the 5th Agreement. And they're wonderful books, and you can do book studies on those. So as they were interviewed here, Don Miguel says, there is a war to control humanity. We try to control ourselves and learn to love ourselves without condition. All of humanity can be fixed like magic if we love ourselves without condition. I think that's another way of saying what I've been trying to say. His son, Jose Ruiz, says he is humbled by his family's role in awakening the planet. We only speak what we know, he says. We get out of our own way. There comes a moment in life when you are in true service to Spirit and realize that we are the Holy Cup. We use our human minds as swords. Free yourself from attachment, Miguel Ruiz Jr. chimes in, and free the energy around personal importance. How important do you think you are? And can you recognize that your importance is the same as everyone around you? And when we honor everyone around us, then we create a better world. Angel means messenger, and I believe in today's angels, says Don Miguel. They are not mythological angels. We are the angels. We are the messengers. And that's what we're doing here. We have the power to build or to destroy. Most importantly, what kind of angels are we to the people we say we love? Are we angels of truth or angels of lies? I want everyone to have this awareness. So it's a wonderful article, and it will give you great insights into yourself if you open up your heart and your mind to what they have to say in this interview. So I encourage you to pick up one of the magazines. If you're not subscribing to it, subscribe to it. Next Saturday is our new member orientation. And so if you are in church, if you're interested in joining, let me know. And new members get a 6-month subscription to Science of Mind magazine for free. Woohoo! All right. So thank you, David, for your service. Can we love ourselves without condition? Until we're able to love ourselves, we're not going to be able to fully love other people. Another example of this, I found this week, Tom and I went to see the play Hairspray at the Pace Center on Friday night. I highly recommend it, not only for the entertainment value, because they had great voices and it was a wonderful play, but for the message that it gives. You see, Hairspray is a play that takes place in 1962 in Baltimore. There was segregation in 1962 in Baltimore, and this play is about a TV show. It was a TV show that only allowed white people on there to dance. So it was the teenagers there. Corny Collins' show, and he had his, and all the kids would be there, and they got to audition for the ones that were going to be regulars on the show. Well, one of the girls, whoops, she got pregnant. So she's going to be gone for 9 months. And they needed somebody new. And the new girl that wanted to really audition said, I know I can do this, I've learned all the steps. This would be so wonderful. Is the lead in the play. Now she's short. She's a little stout. She fluffed her hair up as big as she could. She had a great voice. She could dance better than some of the white girls. Well, she was a white girl. But she learned from some people that were white. And it was a great story. You follow this whole story of how these people are interacting. And they didn't like her because she was short, she was stout, she wasn't cute. Put her out. I could be Dr. Seuss. And you follow their whole change and internal look at themselves here. And this little short, stout girl said, I have something to offer. I'm okay with who I am. And just as I am, I want to be able to dance on TV. And I really want to dance with Lane. It was great. And the story goes on, and you can go see the play. But she was the one that really brought about integration into that TV show. Because she loved herself enough to stand up for who she was, and then to look around her into the world and say, it's not right that we're not integrated. It should be, they had Negro Day once a month, is how they pacified that. She said, it's not right that we only have Negro Day once a month. I want to have Negro Day every day. So it's a great play, it's a lot of fun, but it taught me to look, because here was somebody who was embracing herself, embracing her love for herself. And because she could stand in her truth, then she was able to share that love out with others. She was able to go out and make a change in the world, literally, because of her love for herself and her love for other people. So I would invite you this week to do your own inner work, to go within and to see what needs to be healed, to see how you can accept yourself. It might be that you need to take a class. Maybe you need to go to a workshop. You might need to see a practitioner. You might even need to pick up the Science of Mind magazine and contemplate the article on Don Miguel and his sons. What a way to invite us into our own work, to love ourselves, to explore our beliefs. And then from that, we'll be able to go out and love the world. Once you have healed yourself and done your own inner work, then you can begin your work of honoring other people around you. You will be able to embrace people that are different from you and not be afraid. Because we are all humans. We all want to be loved. We all want to be understood. We all want to be loved and validated. For we are one human family. And when we recognize that, and when we relate to that from our hearts, the world is much, much richer. and we recognize and we create a world that works for everyone. So honor the differences that you see this week. Honor them in yourself, and honor them in others. And know that life is good and very good. Let us pray. There is one power, one Spirit, one presence that is the maker and creator of each one of us. God does not make junk, and we stand in that knowledge that we are the beloved of the Creator. Each one of us has been created with our own unique special talents and abilities, and we are grateful for that. And as we step into the fullness of our unique abilities, we embrace ourselves. And in embracing ourselves, we have the strength and the courage to embrace others, to see people who are different from us in so many ways, and know that that is the infinite diversity of God. That is the many ways that Spirit expresses, and it's wonderful. We enjoy the fullness of God, and we welcome that into our lives. I know that for each one of us. And I speak this word with gratitude, releasing the truth of it into the law that always says yes. Be yourself. Everyone else is taken. Thank you, Spirit, for helping each of us to be ourselves. And together we say, and so it is.